Welcome to the show. Welcome to the SmashPod, brought to you by SmashUp Fantasy Sports, the only next-gen fantasy sports game where you can choose your players, select your Smash cards, and dominate your opponents. We're here to talk about some sports, fantasy sports, pop culture, like we always do. Have a little fun, talk a little trash in the meantime. I'm here with my guy, Chris, aka Hawk, and I'm Ming, of course, aka Chef. Always happy to discuss the topics of the day from the sports world on this Friday. How's it going, Chris? How are you?
Going good. Live from Chicago.
Live from Chicago. You got the SmashUp shirt behind you. I see that. And you're wearing it.
I'm wearing it. Double smash.
Double smash. Super Smash Bros. Double smash.
Smash burger. Smash all over.
Ooh, I love smash burgers.
They're delicious. They're addicting.
Yeah, there's a definite smash burger culture building up here in LA. The next time you come back out, we got to go check some out because there's some pretty good spots brewing up all around LA, and smash burgers is definitely a thing out here.
Oh, that's the deal.
Yeah, let's do it. Excited to talk about the items that we have on tap for today's episode. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the recent sports news. There's some crazy events that we kind of called that happened today in the sports news. So we'll talk about that. We have some early ADP reactions. So taking a look at ADP of fantasy football players, where we feel maybe some may have been overdrafted, maybe where some are too low, where we feel like there's some value and where we would select them at. We'll talk a little bit about celebrity fandom. And then, of course, role players. We have our role play to do, which we always love. And then we'll wrap this with a hot take. How's that sound? Sound good to you?
Oh, that sounds amazing.
All right, so let's kick this off. So in recent news, obviously the NBA playoffs are kicking off. A couple of the first rounds have already ended, and some of them didn't quite end the way that, these teams came into the season expecting. Namely, Phoenix. Obviously, they've got their big three out there. KD, Beal, Booker. They're not in the playoffs. They got swept. Milwaukee, they're on the brink. Wait, did they already get beat?
Yeah, no, they're out. Indiana is going second round.
Yeah, so they're out. They're done. And then LA's out. They're done. Oh. Gentlemen's sweep. So these are some teams that had big goals and big aspirations coming into the season, and now they're done. And it happened quickly. And in LA, they've already let go of Mr. Darvin Ham, which we had guessed might happen, but not a big surprise at the same time. And it's funny because I don't know if you saw just the other day, Charles Barkley was defending Vogel and defending Ham.
Oh, wow. That's a surprise. I think this is the first time ever that Charles Barkley has protected a ham instead of just, barbecuing it.
Yeah. Usually with the ham, he's like, oh.
I'm hungry. Feed me.
Yeah. He's usually protecting the ham. No, usually he's eating it. Yeah, my ham. Saving it for himself. But yeah, he said it was more the players than the actual coaches themselves, but I guess the Lakers disagreed in this case.
A lot easier to get rid of the coach than to get rid of the players, or to admit that you are the one who should be gotten rid of as a GM.
Yeah, that's true. We will find out a little bit about what happened in that conversation between Darvin Ham and Rob Pelinka later on, won't we?
I guess I'm getting scared.
Yeah, but let's kick things off by talking ADP. Fantasy draft season is already upon us, which is crazy. I know we've got some time, but draft season starts early every summer, and we're already beginning to see where some of these players are being drafted. ADP obviously will shift. It will change, especially as training camp opens up and more news comes out. But we're already seeing where the fantasy community is starting to like some of these players. So we've kind of gone through the rounds here, and Chris and I have identified some players that we really like at their spots and some that we hate. And we'll go through the rounds. We'll name some players that we think are too high or too low, and tell you a little bit why we think so, and where maybe we wouldn't draft them, and if we wouldn't even draft them at all. So why don't we start in round one, Chris? I know you got a player right off the bat who's probably left you some scars. We all have those players. But why don't you kick us off and tell us about your first player?
I'm kind of like subtweeting Ming here because this is a player who directly hurt him last season.
On two teams.
So a player I actually like, which is Garrett Wilson. The problem is, it's a classic thing in fantasy where this guy's being drafted essentially at his ceiling. So right now, Garrett Wilson's ADP, and it varies a little bit. So by the way, we're using Fantasy Pros rankings, our ADP, and Right now, they have him at 14. And I like Garrett Wilson, but as a number 14 player, he's relying on a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers, backup quarterback, also a Ming fan favorite, Tyrod Taylor.
Why is he my favorite?
You had him back in the day. You like
mean
running
Ty
quarterbacks.
God Taylor? Ty God.
Who did he play for when you had him? Was it Buffalo? Who had him back in the day?
Oh,
Remember?
maybe Buffalo.
You love your running quarterbacks, which usually works out, but not with
as
that.
a backup, that was a starter.
As a backup.
Yeah.
So look, I mean, he had 165 points last year. I think he'll be better this year, but for a guy you're drafting at 14, right now going ahead of guys like Gibbs and Saquon Barkley, it just feels like you're drafting him at his ceiling. And if Rodgers gets hurt or just it's 41 and doesn't play as well, if they run a lot with Brees, it feels like you're drafting at his top. And if anything whatsoever goes wrong, injury can happen to anyone, but anything goes wrong, or if he just improves incrementally, it just feels like there's better players leaving on the table.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's his cost is definitely at his ceiling, and that's a dangerous proposition in the first round, right? Like you don't want to be paying for ceiling because anything can happen, and not that you think A-Rod's going to go down with another Achilles, but damn, if something happens and he misses some games, then that value just falls out from underneath Garrett Wilson. Debo or Garrett Wilson?
All right, I'll go for Garrett. I would go for Garrett over Debo.
Okay.
But Debo's not going as first or early second rounder right now.
No, he's not. But he's going up there. Ayuk or Garrett Wilson?
Still Garrett. There's just such a crowded, like CMC, right? CMC goes ahead.
Yeah.
But I would take Saquon.
I'm just testing your boundaries here and trying to get some intel for our draft league. All right, cool. All right. Interesting enough, I have a too low for round one. And this gentleman, another wideout, his ADP is 17 right now on Fantasy Pros. And interestingly enough, he's been connected to A-Rod in the past, and that's where his value has started drop off a little bit ever since A-Rod and him have no longer been playing together, but Devontae Adams. So Devontae Adams, I think he's a little too low right now. And I know his value's come down, his productivity's come down ever since him and A-Rod split up. And he's gone to the Raiders primarily because of the poo-poo platter of quarterbacks that
you make it sound like a breakup. You make it sound so sad. Like him and A-Rod, they broke up,
right? Breakups, right? But this man, I mean, Devontae is still good. I mean, for the last 5 years, he's had top 5 finishes, and the only one he didn't have a top 5 finish was due to injury. He's had 218 points or more in 4 of the last 5 years, obviously leading to those top 5 finishes. I mean, he basically scores 3 to 4 points per game more in those seasons than he had last year. Last year, they were way down. Like, he was just not going to have that same productivity with Aiden O'Connell and Jimmy G. So that's to be expected. But I think that's where people are actually starting to value him now is based on that productivity. So I think he has some upside to him now if people think he's going to replicate last year. And I mean, in his best years, and again, I know it's with A-Rod, but he was hitting like 1,500 yards, double-digit touchdowns, and not barely crossing the 10 mark. He was getting closer to like 15. I think if he can settle somewhere in the middle between last year and what he's seen in the past, especially with a little more stability to that Raiders roster and the coaching staff going forward next year, I think they will be better next year than they were this past year. So I think he will be able to outperform that value a little bit. And he's still Devontae Adams. He's still going to eat up a lot of those targets.
I just want to be clear here, though. You are gambling on the Gardner Minshew experience.
I am not gambling on it. I think that's the better call. I don't trust Aiden O'Connell. If Aiden O'Connell's in there, that means he's outplaying Gardner Minshew. And I'm not saying that's quality QB play, but I like Devontae Adams as being the wide receiver one out there. So
but I mean, Adams is going 17 right now. So would you take Adams ahead of Saquon? Would you take him ahead of Garrett Wilson?
Ooh, that's a tough one. No, probably not. I would probably take Garrett Wilson.
So basically, you're saying Devontae Adams is properly rated.
No, I just think he's too low. I mean, you're just comparing him one player. I'm just comparing him to his ADP. So,
okay. All right, fair enough.
All right, you're comparing one player. That was the question,
right? The player's ranked immediately ahead of him in ADP.
Not immediately. There's 3 spots, and his ADP 17. He may be even be taken like at 20 or 21 in some drafts, right? So who knows?
I mean, I do like him. I think he's going to rebound.
Yeah. Okay. Well, why don't we move to some of the next couple of rounds? So rounds 2 and 3. Who do you like that's maybe, or sorry, let's switch this up. Why don't you give me someone that's too low, right? Who do you think is going too low right now?
Okay. Well, one guy is Michael Pittman Jr., and I think he was at his best with Anthony Richardson last year. Still put up a really good season. Wasn't
Anthony Bonk Richardson?
Bonk.
Bonks his way into the end zone and misses 13 games.
Is this a sound effects podcast? Is that the sound of a concussion?
Yeah, I mean, it is inside their heads, maybe.
It's, we'll test that. We'll bang our heads on the wall after. But no, so I mean, that's
kind of like talking to you.
Right?
It's like banging my head against the wall.
Is that what
bonk.
You hear? Bonk, bonk.
That's what I hear when you're talking. Yes.
I'm like the Charlie Brown mom. Bonk, 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 bonk.
Yeah. Well, that's what Micah hears when you talk. So
poor guy. All right. So Anthony Richardson, he's at his best with him. He still put up a good season, not quite elite. I feel like people are almost a little cold on him. I mean, he's ADP 26. I feel like he may not be like a Justin Jefferson, but he's a legit kind of like 1B type wide receiver. Just feels like the spot is low. And I feel like even if I was drafting a little bit higher in the second round, I like him better than probably some of the guys going above him.
Yeah. Who are a couple of names above him that you think might?
Guys like Nico Collins, Brandon Ayuk, and I think a player you may be talking about in a moment. So I'll try not to steal your thunder.
Okay. Well, yeah, someone I do think is actually being taken too high right now at an ADP of 23 is DJ Moore. So we talked a little bit about DJ Moore in past episodes because of that Bears offense and the amount of weapons that are now involved. Yes, there's going to be a brand new QB who, has a lot of skills, was a number 1 pick. Caleb Williams is out there, so there could be some upside, some big games, right? But now DJ Moore's got to contend with Keenan Allen. He's got DeAndre Swift from the Philadelphia Eagles, who is a pretty solid pass catching back. Cole Kmet is still there, obviously. So there's a lot more options that Caleb Williams can toss the ball to. And Absolutely. So I think that's going to limit the amount of opportunities DJ Moore has. Last year, he was pretty much the sole wideout option. I mean, he was 1A, 1B, 1C pretty much in terms of outlets for Justin Fields. And I just really think there's some other opportunity for other players who are probably ranked around him or below him that would be better off being selected, like Devon Achane, maybe even Patrick Mahomes if you go to QB. But I'm not
Pittman?
too.
What about Pittman versus DJ Moore?
That's really tough. Maybe Pittman because of there's less competition, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and I didn't even mention Rome Odunze, who's drafted, obviously like number 9 pick. So it's not like he's going to lead the team in targets by any means, but you've got to design some plays for him and give him some run. He's the future.
You don't draft someone number 9 to like keep him on the bench, right?
Exactly. So I would say Pittman over Moore just because of the amount of competition that has to occur. But I think those are some interesting names. And those are 2 guys. People will be on the clock looking at those 2 names, I think, pretty often in fantasy drafts coming up this year. How about we go to rounds 4 to 5? And who's someone that you think is being taken too high right now?
So one name, and I want to be clear, I actually like this player again, but just not where he's being drafted, is Trey McBride. Right now he's got an ADP of 46. And I think a lot of that is he was phenomenal towards the end of last season. But at the end of last year, the Cardinals, I think Michael Wilson got hurt. I know Brown was out. James Conner was out, and he's a pass-catching back. So he was really just the only guy to target. I mean, he was eating up the targets. And I think this year he'll still get good targets. He'll still be a good tight end. But obviously now they've got Marvin Harrison Jr. I believe James Conner's back. Michael Wilson's back.
Greg Dortch
still going to be there. Yeah, Greg Dortch. Don't forget All-Star Greg Dortch.
Yeah. Hall of Famer.
1980s bully, Greg Dortch. No, so look, he's still going to get targets. But I'll put it this way. Right now he's being taken about 20 spots ahead of George Kittle and Evan Ingram, and about 40 spots ahead of Kyle Pitts, who now has Cousins and no Arthur Smith. I like McBride, but I would just rather have a higher caliber receiver running back there and wait another 20 to 40 picks to get some other tight ends who I think are probably going to get about the same production.
Okay. So you're saying Trey is better off as a McBride's maid than the McBride.
Always a McBride's maid, never a bride.
Yeah. Let's see if he becomes your McBride this season. All right.
27 Dorshes.
Nice try.
27 dresses, 27 Dorshes.
I know. I got it. Unfortunately, I got it.
We just talked rom-coms last episode. I mean, Mike has made me watch like 1,000 of them. So I'm kind of just
27
at the point
Dorshes.
where, yeah, it sounds okay. Let's move on.
Yeah. Well, we won't edit that out.
No,
we'll leave it in. Okay. Someone I think is actually going too low right now is Joe Mixon. And Joe Mixon, he's now a part of the Houston Texans and is part of a pretty legit offense. Could be top 7, top 5 maybe with
Absolutely.
CJ Stroud, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, Hall of Famer Dalton Schultz. But he is going to have every opportunity to score touchdowns. That offense is going to be in the red zone. He's going to be able to churn out some tough yardage between the 20s, but he's also going to have some goal line carries. So I think he's going to get a ton of opportunities. Did you know, like last year, he also had 1,400 total yards and 12 touchdowns, which was the same as Breece Hall. That's crazy. Breece Hall is going top 5 overall, right? And so I think that obviously Breece Hall may have a better season because everyone expects A-Rod to lift that offense a bit further than Zach Wilson could last year.
On his messed up Achilles? Yeah.
Yeah. But I think Joe Mixon isn't going to be far behind from a numbers perspective. I actually think Mixon could have a better year next year than he did this past year.
Well, touchdowns are so unpredictable. I think just being in a top offense means you are close to the end zone, right? So
exactly,
opportunity will be. That doesn't mean he'll get the touchdowns, but you play for opportunity in fantasy.
Yep, exactly. And I think when you think about how do you draft running backs and how do you at least set yourself up for success, you draft running backs who are tied to good offenses, right? And to your point, you don't know if they're going to get all the touchdowns, but Mixon could be in a situation where his team next year, the Texans, has more opportunities to score touchdowns than either the Bengals or even the Bengals from the years past where he scored 12. So we'll see. I think he's definitely being taken too low at 49. You will see him on my teams coming into this next coming season.
So are you saying that fantasy players are a bit too rigid, but you plan on mixing it up?
Yes, we will mixing it up.
Leave that for sure. That goes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's cool.
Let's keep it going. Let's see. I wish we had a bell for how many bad puns and play on words you have. We're at like 3 or 4 right now. All right. Let's just like round out the draft a little bit. Let's talk about just maybe a player or two that you think could have some late round value.
Yeah, so one, again, just crazy low to me is Devin Singletary. He's going about 109 right now. That's about what, the 9th, 10th round, depending on how big your draft is. And here's a guy, pretty much the undisputed starting running back. And he performed well in Buffalo towards the end when he started getting more volume.
There's literally no one out there besides Devin Singletary, right?
No, they took one rookie in like the 6th round.
And I think I read Tyrone Tracy is a converted wide receiver to running back. So he's even still just developing as a running back.
Yeah, it's the most Giants thing possible. Should we draft a running back? No, let's just draft a receiver and make him a running back. Yeah. See Deebo Samuels? We should just do that, but permanently. So, yeah, I mean, he's the undisputed starter. He played well in Buffalo, played well, obviously in Houston, was better than Fierce last season, or Pierce. Going to the nicknames, Damian Pierce. So, played well twice. Undisputed, can also catch passes, so when they're trailing, he's still not out of the game. He's not a guy that's a run-only player. So, again, look, not necessarily great. I understand why he's going later. But right now he's going behind guys like your favorite, Tony Pollard, Brian Robinson Jr., Roshan Johnson.
Tony Pollard.
I know. It's this is Garrett Wilson, Tony Pollard. Basically, I feel like the whole drafted too high list is just players you had on your team last year.
Yeah. I know who to draft late because those are all the guys I drafted early last year. So, but yeah, I mean, Singletary falls into that 0 RB draft approach, right, where he could be really, really good value late.
Bingo.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to go.
Who do you like?
Yeah, no, I'm going to go opposite though. So not late round value. I'll talk about a guy who's going kind of late, but should still not even be touched. Like, do not draft this guy, Justin Herbert. Like, do not draft Justin Herbert. I'm telling you. Maybe
did this
as
guy
a
shoot
second,
your dog. Like, what happened? This is
maybe
you
as a second
Justin Herbert.
No, maybe as a second QB in a super flex.
Okay.
Like, obviously, like, you know, in those leagues, all the quarterbacks are rostered and even some backups get rostered. And I know you love to hoard like 7 quarterbacks in those leagues and everyone hates you for that strategy.
You calling me a hoard?
Hoarder. Yeah.
Oh,
but
okay.
He's going to an offense. I'm sorry. He's going to be in an offense that's going to be more run heavy. He has Harbaugh stepping in. His pass attempts are going to come down. It's already been talked about. There's going to be less pass attempts, less playmakers. He's lost Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler's gone. They did draft a wide receiver, a rookie one, Lad McClunkey. I like to say it. Hi there, lad. Lad McClunkey is going to be his leading wide receiver.
Accent. Yeah.
And their first rounder from last year, Quentin Johnston, we can see what happens if a first round rookie wide receiver doesn't pan out, right? He was absolutely atrocious.
Also on Mink's fantasy team.
Yep,
keep going.
Exactly. But here's why you shouldn't draft Herbert fundamentally. These are guys that are being drafted after Herbert. Jared Goff, Tua, Kirk Cousins, Brock Purdy, Baker Mayfield. these names, like they're not that sexy, but these guys are all being drafted after Herbert, and they all finished higher than him last year.
Yeah.
And Herbert is going to be in a worse situation, which I think everyone can see. Anyways, I'm not drafting Herbert. Do not draft him. If you're listening to this, I would take Caleb Williams over Herbert, and I think Caleb Williams finishes higher than him. Maybe not a hot take anymore. It was before.
Just a lot of hate.
Yeah, well,
there's a lot of hate for Herbert.
Would you take Herbert? Would you take Herbert or Caleb Williams?
I would take Herbert. I don't trust rookie.
Oh,
I do not trust rookie quarterbacks.
So this sounds like a bet. Who finishes higher? Let's say minimum 14 games played, because we can't base that off of missed games.
Per game average.
Yeah. Fantasy points.
Yep. I'll take Herbert.
Herbert, I got Williams. Okay. All right. Cool. It's on. All right. One real quick bonus, too low though. Raheem Mostert. He finished RB2 last year. His ADP is 80. Nothing's really changed. The offense is still the same. There's consistency. He's still going to get a large piece of those carries. Devon Achane is not the picture of health. He was banged up a lot last year. But even when he was banged up, Achane still played 11 games. Mostert still finished RB2. He's not going to repeat RB2, but I still think he's going to have a lot of productivity. And he'll have those huge games where he will win you the entire week. So that's an offense I want to tie myself to from a fantasy perspective. Agreed?
Agreed.
Cool. All right. Thank you for agreeing. All right.
We got hurt. Yeah.
Bonk. All right. Let's switch things up a little bit. We love to talk a little pop culture and infuse that into our discussion. So I just, I was on TMZ Sports, which by the way is a good source for sports news. I mean, TMZ is a pretty solid and reputable source for news in general these days. But TMZ Sports, there was a headline that said that Fat Joe says Jalen Brunson of the New York Knicks is on the verge of becoming one of the greatest Knicks ever. And
all right,
we can debate that, right? Because Jalen Brunson he hasn't been around enough, and I think we will talk about Jalen Brunson a little bit. So no need to dive into that. But I was thinking from a pop culture perspective, who are some of the greatest celebrity fans ever?
Ooh,
right. So maybe we should put at least a little bit of loose criteria around this, and maybe you can help me break this down. But I think that to be a great celebrity fan, you have to show up to a good number of games. You can't go to one a year, right?
Yep.
Obviously follow one team. You can't be showing up at a New York Rangers game and then an Islanders game and then a Senators game and then, a
gotta be a
Kings
diehard,
game.
like a true fan.
Exactly. Yeah. It helps if you have viral reactions. Like the reactions you have are so intense and full of emotion. They show up on social and they're circulated. And I think you have to be camera friendly, right? Like you have to be, we talked about this. You have to be engaging with people and fans, right? So what do you, 100%. What do you think of that criteria? Anything else to add?
I mean, there's just like tenure too, right? It's like, we were talking about this, right? Like Taylor Swift, huge viral for the Chiefs this year, but you wouldn't really say she's like a great celebrity, like Chiefs fan. She's a Kelsey fan, right? And she's just been there 1 year. But if she's still there in like 20,
well, she was representing.
For sure.
I agree with you on the longevity, but she became like a supernova fan because of her following and what she did for the value of the franchise and the fan base. Like, even though she didn't have it's almost like the argument that in order to do well in your job, you have to have 5 years of experience. That someone within only 1 or 2 years can't be as the same value and quality of an employee as someone who's been there 5 years, right? Is that what you're saying? You have to be around for a long time. You can't just be an ultra intense fan and bring so much to the team within a short amount of time.
Yeah, I think to be associated, to be the greatest celebrity fan, I think you've got to have some sort of tenure. It can't be like for 8 games, right? You've got to be like
maybe the GOAT fan. Okay,
who are some right?
Who are some that you could think of?
My favorite stuff, man, like Spike Lee.
Yeah,
Spike Lee. Maybe I don't know if some of the younger fans will know this one, but like Spike said every Knicks game. Remember him and Reggie Miller?
Yep,
they were just talking trash during the game.
Okay, so we didn't mention that. Like someone that the players actually end up engaging with too. That should probably be part of the criteria, right?
And opposing fans hated him, right? Like if you're a Knicks fan, you love Spike Lee. If you were like maybe like a random Kings fan like me, if you're like a Pacers fan, if you're a Bulls fan, you're kind of like F this guy, right? Like
yeah,
he's there and he's like on TV and he's talking trash to you. Like it kind of pissed you off.
Yeah, for sure. I think Jack Nicholson belongs up there. I mean, talk about longevity and going to the games. Like he is always there. He is
by the third quarter. He was always there.
Yeah, and even though he's there, he may not even be all there. But He's there.
Well, yeah, listen, most Lakers fans don't show up till late third quarter, so he's kind of like
that's
beating
a very
him.
LA Lakers thing. Yeah, for sure.
True
I mean, there's also Drake with the Raptors. I mean, he was.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he doesn't have that longevity piece, but he was pretty intense as a fan and was really a big part of their championship run not too long ago.
But he's been a fan for a while. Just nobody cared about the Raptors, right? It's like he was a fan, but like, you know, who talked about the Raptors? So they like made the run in the playoffs.
Nor do they anymore.
So it's
no one cares.
They're up there in Toronto. It's Canada. No one really thinks about that.
You're a big Kings fan. Who's like a celebrity or a a diehard Kings fan that's well known in the public eye?
Oh, so many. We got Vern Troyer, right? It's a mini me. Before he passed, I always remember him coming to games. Greta Gerwig.
Vern Troyer. That there's a joke somewhere there.
Choose your next words carefully. You are the most problematic person on the podcast. I don't want to be associated with Ming. I actually don't know Ming outside of this podcast. Don't
rest in peace for Troyer.
We got the lead singer of Deftones. We got all sorts of celebrity cachet in Sacramento. Yeah. Kevin Johnson, former mayor and basketball player, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, just speaking about this, do we think Spike Lee is probably the greatest celebrity sports fan of all time?
He gets my vote.
Okay.
You going him? You going Jack, or somebody else?
I'm going Spike because Spike. I love his energy and the way he interacts with the players. He's not as vibrant as he used to be, but the Knicks also haven't been good in 20 years, so 30 years.
Not Billy. Well, look, it's just like players, right? Like fans have a prime. Like it's hard to be. You get older.
Yeah.
You can't be jumping up and down and like jawing with players anymore.
For sure. Well, speaking about jawing, that brings us to our favorite segment, role players.
Oh Lord, goodness.
And it was my turn, and it's actually timely because the news dropped today, not too long ago, actually, about Darvin Ham being fired from the Los Angeles Lakers.
Oh, God.
Very sad. Very, very sad. So I was thinking that we could do a role play where we get a look into how that conversation went between him and Pelinka. It must have been a very awkward and odd exit interview today. So why don't, with you being the resident Lakers fan, the huge diehard Lakers fan, why don't we make you Darvin Ham? And I'll be Rob Pelinka, and we could engage in our exit interview.
You have always wanted to fire me. I can tell. Like from a job, as a friend, as a human being. This is just
you fired.
Set this up.
You're fired. That's my Trump.
That's your best Donald Trump.
You're fired.
Yeah, that's probably better than your Lad McClunky.
You're fired. You're fired. I've always wanted to fire you because you're fired. Okay, let's start.
All right, You're well practiced.
This became a different role play. Okay. All right. You ready, Darvin?
I'm ready.
Wait, hold on really quickly. What do I call you? Do we know what Pelinka calls Darvin Ham? Darvy?
It's up to your imagination. You're Rob Pelinka. D-Ham? Okay. Oh, I like that one. Pretty cool.
D-Ham? All right, let's go. You're walking in the office.
Hey,
Rob. D-Ham. Yeah, come on in. How are you?
I'm good. Never been better. Great.
Yeah. Do you have any trouble making it over to the office today?
Oh, dude, it was great. I was just out in the hallway. You won't believe who I saw. Tyrone Lue, JJ Redick. I love those guys. They were giving me some really cool tips on things to do for the Lakers next year.
You saw them.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Just had a couple of quick meetings with them earlier. Surprised you still saw them, but yeah. Don't worry about it. Yeah, they were just saying hello.
Maybe I could have one as an assistant or something. Like they had some really cool tips I never thought of. They're great.
Yep, that's why we were talking today, actually.
Whew.
Yeah,
same page.
We'll talk more about that though. But I'm glad you came in. You know, we're here obviously to talk about the season. It was an interesting season. You know, I think it's always good to talk about how we did and how we thought we did against our goals. You know, did we meet our expectations? It's always good to reflect and then maybe talk about next steps after that.
Great day. I'm excited.
Right?
I can't wait.
Right?
I can't wait.
All right. So why don't we just start off with you? How do you think this season went? I mean, would love to hear your perspective on how you would evaluate things.
It could not have gone better. It just this A plus of the season. This was, I mean, I was thinking this might be one of the greatest seasons in Lakers history. This is the way I led this team. I'm excited for this. This is a great day, great year, and I could not be proud.
So you thought we had a really great season?
We crushed it. We crushed it.
Got it. Okay. Interesting. I was not expecting to hear that. But okay, why don't we?
No. I mean, you've got a JD. You're highly educated. You're probably like, you wouldn't use the word like crushed it. You probably have like a fancy like Harvard Ivy School type. Oh, we just smoothed it. I don't know. I don't know what language you use.
We smoothed it.
Yeah, it was.
That's my JD.
This is JD
coming into play there.
Talk, lawyers speak. Yeah, I object. Yeah, that's all right.
Okay, D-Ham. Why don't we do this? It's always good to look at the goals that we had set forth for us as an organization and how we did against those goals. So why don't I just go down our list from the beginning of the season that you and I sat down and we mapped out for our team and see where we landed against those goals. So
shoot.
Right off the top of the bat, our greatest goal, number one goal, top of the board, we wanted to win a championship this season.
Okay.
Talk to me about how we did there.
We aced it. I mean, A plus, right? Like this. Listen, I was looking this up. I did some research last night. I went on Basketball Reference. Cool site, by the way. This year, the first in-season tournament championship in Lakers history. I wasn't sure, but the mayor tweeted about it. Karen Bass, she's a brilliant woman. She would not just say that. Never been done. This is a coaching feat.
In-season championship.
And the Lakers franchise has never won one before. Like, sure, NBA championships. We have like what, 16? 16. Who needs 17? Who needs
another one of those?
Who needs another one? In season, number one, first.
Okay, got it.
A plus.
Yes. Okay. Second, keep LeBron happy. We he's important to us.
Yep.
We want to make sure we maximized him. How do you think we did there?
A plus could not be better. Listen, I don't know how much you know about LeBron. LeBron and I, we're close. I follow him on Instagram. He doesn't follow me back, but it's just kind of his thing. He's very, very selective, right? So
he's very private.
Very, very private person. But I followed his Instagram stories all season long. He's just videos and reels of him with his family. They're doing Taco Tuesdays. He's like giving a kiss to his wife. Like, he's never seemed happier.
Okay.
A plus.
Okay,
never seemed happier.
Got it. Okay, and then how about developing our youngsters? And don't tell me don't give me a long-winded story about LeBron, please.
No. LeBron, he's old. He's old generation, right? But look at AD. He's only 30. This young buck of 30. And he played more games than he has in a long time because I told him, I said, AD, we need you on the court. So I don't care if we lose. You just make sure you stay healthy. And it worked. He stayed healthy and we lost. Coaching.
Okay, we lost.
Coaching. That's an A plus.
Okay. Look.
Yeah.
How do you think we can return to prominence again? Where do we go from here?
Return. We won the in-season championship.
Sorry. How do we stay at the top of the mountain?
So I'm thinking
in the middle of the season and then at the end of the season.
Rob, I respect you. I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but like the roster was just kind of okay. Yeah, we had LeBron, AD, but then Austin Reeves, D'Lo, they're good players, right? A couple All-Star games between some of these guys, but I'm thinking, you go out, you get me Kawhi Leonard, you get me Luka Doncic, you get me Domantas Sabonis, you get me some of these guys, and next year, I think with some good coaching, we could win another in-season championship. And no, whoa, that's not all.
Got it. That's
two in one season.
Ham, that's more than we could ever ask for as an organization.
That is.
I just have to go out and give you a few top 10 players in the league, and we can secure those preseason and in-season championships.
And look, if you do that, how about this? Between us, I won't talk to the public about this. We'll pretend it was your idea.
I love that. And the thing about the preseason championships and in-season championships is
Summer League, not preseason. It's Summer League.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we win those and we don't win the end of season championships, the Lakers fans really love those.
Oh, they do. We should do a parade.
They talk about them all the time when we don't win at the end of the season. So I love that you said that.
Can we do a parade? Because I noticed a couple of years ago when you won the championship, you did a parade.
We'll have a parade. You know what?
Okay.
Actually, that's a good call. Actually, on that note, can you head down to HR right now let's have you share your ideas about the parade with them, and we just have a couple of things for you to sign. And
I'm getting a bonus, aren't I? This I felt like we connected here, right?
there's definitely a bonus to you going down there. Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
All right.
Yeah, the fans must be happy. I'm looking on Twitter and they're all celebrating something. I'll just have to read about it when I get out there to HR. But
yep,
Lakers fans seem really happy.
Thank you for all your hard work and all that you've kind of done here.
All right, our plea. Thank you too.
All right.
Talk to you soon. Next season.
In
season championship number 2.
Our
two-peat.
Our plea. Is that what you called me?
It's D-Ham, our plea. That's our thing, right?
Our plea out. Okay. Later.
All right. Thanks. Later.
Is that how we think it went?
I think almost
D-Ham
exactly.
and our plea.
I actually had a fly in the room. I had a spy in the room of the Lakers organization. That is the exact conversation.
Poor Darvin Ham. He never had a shot this year, man. Like I mean, no. I think there's just so many memes going around how terrible a job he did. But in any event, all right, let's get towards the latter portion of the pod in which we kind of circulate a couple of topics that are interesting and being discussed right now. Let's keep it with the NBA though. I love this topic because it's really timely and interesting with the NBA playoffs. But which players do you think are really helping their stock / legacy as a player the most in the playoff series that are happening right now? I'll let you kick some names off because I'd love to hear your opinions and thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just start with my number one, right? It's can't be anyone except for Jalen Brunson. I think there's some stat like he's the first player since MJ to score like 37 plus in like 3 or 4 games in a playoff series. I've always liked Brunson. I did not think he had this level in him. I mean, not like this, like a few years ago, right? Like on Dallas, I'm like, I like him. He's good. He's a good sidekick for Doncic, right? He's playing like a superstar right now.
Yeah, I mean, he has just blown my expectations out of the water. Even when he left Dallas to go to New York, I'm like, okay, they're getting a solid player.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, they kind of overpaid for him. And then just right out of the gates, he's just been balling out. And then on this stage, leading the Knicks, who, I hate to say it, but like they could find their way in like the Eastern Conference Finals just because of how bad the East is. You know what I mean? Like they could get there, and if they do get there, it's because of Jalen Brunson.
I actually think you guys kind of have like a similar build in it. I'm like, you could be like in a movie, a B movie, you could kind of like play Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, you could do like a sports comedy. You could be Adam Sandler. And that can be Jalen Brunson.
Let's do it. Let's film it this summer.
Can you give me your Adam Sandler again?
Oh, ball, get in your hole. Don't you like your hole? Your home? Yeah. It's a different role play. We just got a different role play.
Yeah. We'll just on that note, though, with a couple of other guys who help out their stock, I'm moving on from that accent.
Yeah, let's move.
SGA, Luka, Kyrie. Do you think those guys have all helped their stock a little bit without getting too far and deep into that conversation?
Great name. I mean, if Doncic gets one more game, it just elevates him another level, right?
And another name, the playoffs. Jamal Murray. He's already hit a couple game winners. He played well on their championship run last year, and he had those huge games in the bubble, but so did Donovan Mitchell. And Donovan Mitchell hasn't done much since then. But Jamal Murray's kind of a playoff star, and that's where legacies are made, right?
Yeah, kind of going from like, everyone knows Jokic is like MVP. And I think people kind of think about like Murray's been kind of just the second best player, but okay. But he's starting to elevate. Starting to show that maybe he's a second star on that team.
Yeah.
And if I can give you 2 quick names before we end it. Ant-Man. Got to give him a shout out the way he played in that series.
Ant-Man's balling out.
And smaller name, less like these legacies are like, are you a Hall of Famer? A little smaller here, but Derek White. The way he's been playing for the Celtics.
Oh, man, I'm not going to be sitting around 10 years from now talking about Derek White's legacy. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm an NBA nerd. I will be sitting around in 20
years.
He's
playing well. He's playing well. But it's like, come on,
man. You know me. I'm going to be like in the old folks home.
Did you know that
years.
Isaiah Hartenstein, he increased his legacy in 2024? Like, what?
But that's how I am. You know me in the NBA. I'm going to be in the old folks home in like 30 years telling my grandkids.
Yeah, sure. But we're talking about legacy. We're not talking about people who improved off of mediocrity.
Look, that's your legacy. Like, why can it be Derek White?
Oh, it's okay. All right. Well, I think you okay, never mind. I'm not going to get into it.
War. All
right, Derek White. Derek White All-Stars over here.
Ming going to say something really Ming.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, something really interesting that we should talk about, though, because it is super timely, is Darvin Ham was fired. There's actually a lot of rumors right now about who could possibly replace Darvin Ham.
Yep.
Couple of names being tossed around right now. Interestingly enough, Ty Lue, still the coach of the Los Angeles Clippers. I feel like there's always some tie to him in the Lakers, though, because former Laker has won championships, respected as a coach, and he's right there in LA. JJ Redick, his name's been thrown out there. I think JJ Redick gets a lot of respect because he's seen as a quality talking head right now. He has a pod with LeBron. I don't know how that would work. He'd coach him and then shoot a
consideration. Is this the
shoot
podcast
a pod with him? Yeah,
Lakers
I'm
coach?
after JJ Redick, but like, no, how does that work? Like, they're coaching a game and they have a tough one. JJ Redick makes a bad call, then they got to hop on a pod together, and LeBron's like, I knew you were going to do that, or make up some other lie that he always lies about.
Well, no, if it's like podcast, it's going to be like, and he's going to be coaching the team in the huddle and be like, hey guys, this play brought to you by ZipRecruiter.
Yeah.
Go to ZipRecruiter.com.
What? ZipRecruiter advertises like on every podcast.
Every podcast. JJ's going to stop in the huddle. Okay, back to the play.
So, and then Coach Bud, formerly of the Milwaukee Bucks, he won a title with them.
He looks much better after the way this season's gone, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, don't most coaches look better compared to Doc Rivers?
I mean, he's making Adrian Griffin look like a great coach.
Blake, it's not Blake's fault. You know, he's just playing Blake.
That's great. That's almost my Adam Sandler.
Sorry, that's my Doc Rivers. That's not Adam Sandler. So, wait, what do you think of those names? Do you like one of those? Do you have a favorite amongst those names, or is there another dark horse that I haven't mentioned?
I mean, look, I think they're all kind of like, my opinion's always been that like most coaches are fairly average. They get the wins out of a team you expect from the talent. You definitely have bad coaches, and Darvin Ham might have been that. You have a couple of elite coaches.
Darvin Ham.
Yeah, I'll tell you one. Yeah, one coach I like. I've heard a little bit about, but David Yeager. Coached the Kings, coached my team, got us to 39 wins and got fired for not.
Where's he been?
He's been an assistant with Philly.
Okay.
But I feel like, look at his history. We don't have to go too far here, but like, overachieved with the Grizzlies. They got rid of him. Went to the Kings. Gets us up to 39 wins with a roster that you look back at, it was pretty bad.
Got us up to 39 wins.
And Vlad, I thought it should have been. I mean, look, before he got there, we're in the 20s. He gets us up to 39.
What is
Vlad,
the
I think we should be a playoff team. Those were the Vern Troyer years, yes. Yeah. Gets us up to 39 wins. They let him go, and then we get Luke Walton. We go right back to the 20s. I think he's actually a really, really good coach. And I think as someone who does not like the Lakers, I don't want the Lakers to get him. I want the Lakers to go rehire Luke Walton, Brian Shaw, some of those all-stars. Lakers, if you're listening, go get Brian Shaw. Bring him back.
Okay. Interesting. All right, we'll see what happens there. Last topic, and maybe let's just bounce this around quickly. I don't know if anyone has seen, but just last night, Pat Bev, he had a run-in with someone in the crowd. Someone tossed the ball at him lightly, very lightly, and it's not even subjectively speaking. It's objectively tossed the ball to him. Then he rifles the ball back at the fan. And I think that's after he threw a ball and hit another fan in the head, right? I don't know if you saw.
What sound did it make?
Bonk. But no, he rifles the ball back and then starts yelling at them. I don't know. What do you make of this? Is he overreacting? Is this a situation where a fan's being inappropriate here? Like, what do you?
I think it's frustration, right? I mean, we're all human, and he's in the wrong. He knows he's in the wrong, but it's just you get frustrated. You're getting bounced out of the playoffs.
Did something come out where he apologized?
Yeah, he did. He said he gave the normal like, I have to be a better person. I don't know if that's what he sounds like, but that's like, yeah.
Is he Batman?
Yeah, it's Batman. I have to be a better person for Gotham. Yeah.
Okay, so I hadn't seen that, but still, like in the moment, it doesn't even if your emotions are running high, the guy just tossed the ball to him like very gently, and apparently, did you hear what some fan? I don't know if it was that fan, but some fan had said, I guess that sparked him off.
What's that?
They were coming out of their huddle, and the fan was like, 1, 2, 3, Cancun, because they're about to be eliminated.
Well, depending on what he heard. Yeah. Okay.
Quick question for you though. So Pat, he's kind of annoying.
Oh yeah,
can we agree? He's kind of annoying.
You love him on your team. You hate him if he's on another team.
Okay, let me just ask you, who is he more annoying than? I'm gonna name a couple names really quickly. Is he more annoying than Draymond Green?
No, absolutely not.
He's not more annoying than Draymond Green. Okay,
and I love
more annoying than Dylan. Is he more annoying than Dylan Brooks?
More annoying than Dilettante Brooks. Yes.
Is he more annoying than Domantas Sabonis?
No, Sabonis isn't even annoying.
You're right. Yeah, he's not more annoying. Or is he more annoying?
No, he's not. He is, because Sabonis is not even an annoying player. He's just a good player.
Sabonis is annoying. He is a good player, but the way he plays and the way he cries
this is bias. You're a Warriors fan. It's just because he kicked.
You're a Kings fan.
Yeah, so
you're biased as well.
Players.
There's no irony in what you just said about bias.
No. Even on the Pacers. No, come on, Sabonis.
Oh my God.
You haven't even mentioned CP3. It feels like Warriors bias right here. You have like 7 players.
No, there's
no
Warriors bias because CP3 is annoying. I agree. It's annoying.
He was just objectively annoying.
He was on the Warriors, and I still think he's annoying. He's probably going to be off the Warriors. Like, it was a very short-lived stint. But wait, so is he more annoying than CP3?
Oh God, no.
CP3 is more annoying, right?
CP3 is like
longer body of work.
He's like a goat. He's goat of annoyance. But the thing about CP3 does it intentionally. CP3 is so smart with how he's annoying. He annoys other players. He annoys fans. He annoys refs. He just gets under your skin, like, intentionally.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. All right, well, let's wrap things up here with what we always do, which is our final hot take. So I'll swing this over to you, Chris. I think you have a hot take around what will happen in Milwaukee, possibly. So what do you think here?
Yeah, I think Milwaukee, Doc Rivers will probably be let go. I think he's going to be fired. I think Milwaukee's going to have a long rebuild.
Darvin Ham's being let go, Doc's got to go too.
And go coach the Lakers.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that. Doc Rivers?
Maybe he can ruin another franchise.
Has anyone how can we make that happen?
I want it so bad. Has anyone lived off of like he goes to like the big 3? He wins 1 with like Boston, and he has just lived off of that for
he has. Yeah. Okay, so you think Doc's gonna be fired? What else? Do you think they tear it down? Can they?
No, they have too much invest. I don't think they can tear it down. I think they bring it back. I mean, look, they had a lot of injuries, right? Like Rivers was bad. They were bad with Rivers. They actually played better with Griffin. I think they bring the players back. I think they try to replace some role players. But I think they try to just get a better coach for next year.
Okay. So that's not really a hot take. You just said Doc's gonna be fired.
It's a lukewarm take.
Okay. All right. Well, we still like that lukewarm take because it could lead to Doc Rivers coaching the Lakers. The Lakers fans are just like, what is going on with this stuff here?
Can you give me just one, just before we go, give me one like Doc Rivers shouting at LeBron and AD?
LeBron! Come on, LeBron! Get back on defense, LeBron! AD! Stop rolling around, AD!
That's it. Okay, cool.
All right. Well, that wraps up today's episode. Thanks for listening, everyone. We really appreciate it, as always. All right, Chris, why don't you break it down and tell them how they can follow along?
If you don't already, hit the button, subscribe to the podcast and whatever you listen to the podcast on. Go to smashupsports.com and register, sign up for emails. We've got several new exciting games getting ready to launch this year. We'll be talking about in upcoming weeks. And then look down below. You'll see in the description the way to follow us on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and more. And we will look forward to hearing more and talking with you more next week.
All right. Smash Bros out.
Smash Bros out. Ooh, let's eat one more time. Give me the gobble.
LeBron,
Gobble, gobble.
come on, LeBron.
Gobble, 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 gobble.
LeBron.